Etan Patz has the tragic distinction of being the first missing child ever shown on a milk carton.
His disappearance in New York City captivated the nation in 1979, and the mystery has never been solved. This morning, there are new developments in this case, which senior correspondent John Miller, a former FBI official, has covered from day one.
The NYPD and the FBI are about to start digging up the concrete floor in the basement of this building. It is just down the street from the last place Etan Patz was seen 33 years ago, a school bus stop.
We're putting greater emphasis on this location, looking forensically for any evidence of human remains or clothing.
Sources tell CBS News that cadaver dogs had indicated the presence of human remains during a search here several days ago. The day before Etan Patz vanished in 1979, he came home with $1 from this man, 76-year-old Othniel Miller, a neighborhood handyman who used to pay Etan when he helped with small chores. He had a workshop in the basement of this building. Just after Etan disappeared, a new concrete floor was put down.
The FBI has been here to investigate the case. He cooperated with them, went to the site, and he doesn't have anything to do with it.
Perhaps because the boy's father was a professional photographer and had hundreds of clear images of a blonde-haired boy with an impish grin. Perhaps because the case tapped into every parent's nightmare, the disappearance of Etan Patz haunted the nation.
You see his face, you see those blue eyes, and you see, just a beautiful, innocent boy and someone who never had a future. It's just very sad.
Images of Etan were placed on milk cartons and started the movement that led to the founding of the National Center for Missing Children. But for Stan and Julie Patz, there was never closure. In 2000, they spoke with 60 Minutes about their refusal to give up hope.
We have his belongings all over the house. To put them away is saying to us and to our children that he's gone and he's not coming back.
To date, no one has ever been charged in the case, but many suspected that Etan was kidnapped and murdered by Jose Ramos, a friend of Patz's babysitter, who's in jail on child molesting charges in Pennsylvania. Now authorities are looking at new leads that may point to other suspects.
John Miller, good morning.
Good morning.
Why now?
This is one of the rare murder cases that comes out of a campaign promise. When Cyrus Vance was running for district attorney, the family of Etan Patz challenged him and the other candidates and said, if you win, will you reopen this case? And he said yes. And when he started in that office over a year ago, they put a team of fresh investigators and prosecutors on this case with the FBI, and they started going over old suspects and saying, did we do everything with this angle? Did we go everything with this location? And that's what we're seeing now.
And how confident are they that we'll find the body?
They are cautiously optimistic. They're cautiously optimistic because of the interviews they've had with the man who controlled that space back then, Othniel Miller, but also because an FBI cadaver dog alerted on that space, and because of the odd circumstances about when that concrete floor was laid right after the disappearance and why.
And they didn't look at it then, as I understand it, because it would have been too expensive to replace the concrete floor. Is that correct?
Well, that's what people say. That's actually not correct.
It's not, okay.
That's kind of the short version. What they did is they went and they interviewed Othniel Miller at the time, who was a friend of the family and had a good relationship with the boy for all appearances. And they said, when did this concrete floor go down? And he said, just the other day. And they said, we might want to dig under that. And at the time, this was back in 1979, Othniel Miller said, well, if you're going to dig it up, you're going to have to pay to put it back down again. And there were other suspects, there were other leads, there were things that looked better at the time. This is really an effect of going back 33 years later and say, was there any lead that we didn't take all the way that we could take further now?
John, thank you.